Is March 20th, 2026, and I've decided to start documenting my company and its growth. I started my company in 2022, 420, and this video is the Limestone Girlfriend Studios devlog episode 1. And basically, I'll just go over everything I did for the past 4 years. I think I worked about a year and a half of grinding worth of work in those 4 years. So not good, not how much I wanted to have worked, but I did get a good amount done. And this video is just the first episode. It's really episode 0, so I might make it episode 0 actually, but I'll go over everything that I did and yeah, show some stuff off. It'll give you a good sense of the direction my company's going, and I don't know, maybe it'll inspire you to do devlogs or work on a company. Maybe you just get excited about the products that are going to be released soon. Maybe this is just a fun binge for people who like the company in the future. Whatever the case, let's jump into really like the prelog of this, which is like the premise, or not the premise, the more of like the master plan behind the company. So the company is an entertainment company, and hopefully one day it'll be all kinds of entertainment, movies, maybe even live performances, just anything entertainment. But for now, we're taking on Pokemon. I think that Pokemon has done a pretty bad job recently. I think they're overvalued, and I think that leaves uh, a lot of room for competition in the specific niche that Pokemon is, as in a Monster Tamer game, or really just a Monster Tamer IP. The name of my Monster Tamer IP is Alien Soda. It has 3 pillars, right? So first is the video game, which I have the pre-alpha demo here that I'll show off. Next is the card game, and then finally the story, or the stories. And let me try not to say so much here, but basically I have the game demo, pre-alpha demo done. I have the card game, the rules almost done, and I have a bunch of examples of cards that I can show off. And I have the first book draft done, and most of the second book draft done, and like a tiny bit of the third book draft done. And that's basically what I'll be showing off today. Let's try not to curse. I made this video before, but I cursed a bunch. So, and then I realized that this is not my gaming YouTube. This is a business YouTube, so I need to not curse. Anyways, let's see what order we're gonna do this in. Let's do it like this. So there was a game demo that was made, actually. It's on itch.io, or I think it's called itch.io. It's on itch. And it basically just was some guy who made it for me. And we put in creatures in gray with like each body part, like each color here would be in gray or white. And then the game made it so that it can randomly generate a color onto each body part, each color type, and then you'd get a random colored mutant creature for that species. And it worked fine, but it wasn't really a good demo at all. I'm not saying that my current demo is either, but it's a lot better. So that's a huge thing that I think Pokemon is getting wrong. In Pokemon, there are these things called shinies, which are a different color palette for that species. But there's only one. In my game, they're called mutants, and they could be any color. So I think you can really get like unique versions of your species, as you see here to the right. You have all different colors of the same species. These are just like some that I made for the trading card game, but we'll hop into the game now. This is a pre-alpha demo that I made with ChatGPT. So first, you see my character. You can equip vanities or clothes, basically clothes and armor, um, or like things like tails and stuff. But anyways, you can equip them, change the order that they appear on your character, and seems like there's only really a few dozen, but it's just a pre-alpha demo, so I'm not worried about it. This is the one I like to use. It's the Mythical Warlord helmet. It's the Halo. It's the Purple Eel. It's the Monkey Tail. It's the baggy jeans, the sandals, and the jellyfish hands. We're kind of leaning into the jellyfish hand thing. Let me see if I can find. Let's go on Steam page and check out the Steam page. It doesn't come up on library. That's interesting. Yeah, this doesn't really even show it. Here, I have it somewhere else. I'll show you. So here's the like poster for it. Temp here. These are just things I had scattered around. ChatGPT made this too. So we're leaning into these jellyfish hands. I think they're like some of the coolest things that there's some of the coolest vanities that I made up. And you should in the final game you should be able to fish and find these as rare encounters. Just the vanity. You pull up the vanity from the ocean or whatever you're fishing. But anyways, yep. That's the only that's the one of the banners that you need for Twitch to get your game on Twitch. Sorry, not Twitch. Steam. Let's go back, and then you can just walk around this square, and you'll see this is your creature, and this is your opponent creature, and you can run, catch, swap, do a move. I guess you could edit moves in this or open PC, and you'll see this electric animation over here. That shows that it's a mutant. So a mutant, like I said, is any color combination, and it's also any type combination. There's 20 types. Sorry, it's this one. So this one is electric lava. Usually it's insect flying or just insect or something like that. This particular species. Let me show off another kind of creature there is. This is wait, not that one, not that one. This is an elevated creature. You can tell it's an elevated creature from the Ring of Fire on the base of it. And what an elevated creature is, basically an elevated creature, each creature species has its set stats. They're called base stats. And then on top of that, there are bonus stats, which is like the DNA of the creature. So bonus stats are 1 to 100. And elevated creatures have 80 percentile in each bonus stat. So this is an elevated creature. So it's stronger. You can get elevated mutant creatures. In this pre-alpha demo, they're 52 times 52, which comes out to like 2,700, I think, something like that. In the actual game, once it's on a server, it's gonna be a lot rarer. I'm thinking like 40,000 for mutants and 40,000 for elevated creatures. And then I would do here's a mutant. And then I would make elevated mutants, like if they're both, I would make those like 280,000, something like that. One second, sorry. Yo, I'm recording a
Yo,
YouTube video. I gotta call you back later.
alright, can I send you some bars, bro?
All right, do it. We'll talk about him tomorrow. All
Okay, cool.
right, say hi to YouTube.
Peace, YouTube. What's cracking?
All right,
Wait, I can't see me. Wait, hold on. Let me come into the light.
all right,
How's it, YouTube? How you doing? Peace, dog.
all right. Peace, yeah. That was my boy Ayanda. What was I saying? Yeah, so we were talking about rates of mutants and elevateds. Um, so I think having them super rare is really good. I think the system that I'm creating for mutants and elevateds and pretty much all types of rares in the game is pretty good so far. Um, so that's pretty much the pre-alpha demo. I can only do so much with just ChatGPT. I'm not a coder, so it was a struggle just to do this even. But it's something for now. And the next thing I wanted to talk about was the importance of doing this out on a server. So basically, right now, this is just a HTML file wrapped so that it can be um, a Steam game. But anyone can play the game and then edit like any of the creatures, make them like as strong as possible. So clearly, we don't want that for fairness reasons. So if we put it on a server, we can make sure that everything is authenticated and no one can really cheat in that way. So that's kind of the next step for the game. Um, I'm going to make money and then hire someone to make the server do all the back end work that's needed for the server to function properly. And then we'll do the alpha. And the alpha is gonna just be I'll probably do like what's the word? Not a resume, but like a questionnaire to determine if the person who wants to get into alpha can get into the alpha. And we'll let a few people in. Well, I don't know how many I want to let in for the alpha, but let's say 100 to 2,000 maybe. Like maybe no one even wants to and it's just me, which could completely happen. That's something that is like definitely a possibility, but I don't want it to be like too many people. So just for the alpha, and I kind of want to make everything um, perfectly by year. So I want the alpha to come out on January 1st, and then I want it to be a year long, and um, then like release the game a year later. I don't know if that's possible, but just doing things on the January 1st, I think, is a really powerful move. People remember things more on the 1st. It's like for me, I really like New Year's. I think it's like you get like a special feeling on New Year's. Um, so I'm bullish on doing things on the 1st as far as like companies are concerned. Yeah, and we'll take a look at my Obsidian files, my regular folder files on the work I've done for um what the final product. Well, maybe there's not really a final product to this game. Maybe it just evolves forever. It's an MMO, but what I want the alpha or post alpha to look like, all the work I've done on that. I don't recommend you play this game. Like I said, it's not on a server, so you're not getting you're not saving these creatures. They're they're like gonna be like eliminated pretty much. So you won't be able to carry them over to the actual alpha or the post alpha versions of the game, which really sucks. But there was no way me and ChatGPT were going to get through back end work that is necessary for it to be on a server. So that was never going to happen. I think I could get this done by 2028, 2029. the alpha, I mean. But we're gonna focus on the card game and the book before the video game because it's there's a lower cost of entry, and I think it's just the smartest order to do it. Card game, then book, then video game. So that's enough of this game. We'll go into, so that's these two. We'll go into Cyrus' Story, the folder. Now, the folder, I'm currently transferring things from the folder into my Obsidian files. If you don't know what Obsidian is, you should probably look up a video about Obsidian. If you have a computer, anyways. So basically, in Obsidian, why you would use Obsidian is for many reasons, like convenient reasons, but you can go to a note that you made in Obsidian, which is really just a text file, and you can click on you can link something by putting these two square brackets and then in something in two square brackets, and then that allows you to be able to click on it, and then you'll go directly to the page that you've linked. So it's a great source of information. It's a great store of information, really, and you can see your how your information is connected. These are all, I think, called nodes, but anyways, I'm not too good at using Obsidian files. There's a lot more you can do with it that I don't take advantage of. For example, you have templates, and I just open up a template and then I copy and paste it all the time. There's a way to just like insert the template really quick, so you don't even have to do that. What else? Some guy explained a bunch, but I'm blanking on. Oh, like you can also do. Let me show you this. Creatures, wave one. So I do tags, and this way I can look up all of like the water types. So it's not even coming up. Oh, type water, sorry. So I have 4 results so far for type water. That's really good because when I'm writing the book, sometimes I'll need like, oh, I know this needs to be a fire type because it needs to burn this house to the ground. Um, so he needs to have a fire type. And before I was just literally looking through 200 different files, like in creatures. You see what I mean on my actual folder. And then I would just like search through all these because I would forget the names. I'm just new to they're like newly made names, so I would just have to search 800 times and then remember which ones were fire. And this is just a lot easier. So you see other folders on the root directory, but I haven't really put any time into any of these other folders, just Alien Soda. I did do Cashews, Carrots, and Kiwis pretty much finished, and Crit Cup. Those are 2 board game tabletop games. But we're just going to focus on Alien Soda because that's what I've worked like 99% of my work on. Or that's what I put 99% of my time into. So I don't know if I want to how in depth I want to go in this video. There's a lot of work I did that I find interesting. So maybe I do want to go in depth. Let's see how long that was. I want to go in depth. Let's see how long this so far. I want to go in depth. 20-minute video. So far, I want to go in depth. 20-minute video. So far, I want to go in depth. 20-minute video. So far, yeah, we'll do this for the video. So far, yeah, we'll do this for the video. So far, yeah, we'll do this for the video. So far, Twitch. We'll get in depth here. So this is creature 1, and you see name, index number. You see these are all the stats. that a creature will have in Alien Soda Online, and you'll notice that they're not filled out. That's because I was filling them out, and then I was basically accidentally like doing power creep, which power creep is like things getting stronger over time. You see it a lot in trading card games. We did not want power creep. We want like fairness for each creature. So basically, what I decided to do is scrap all the stats the base stats that I did for creatures, and what I'm gonna do is finish all the sprites. And once all the sprites are done, I'm gonna go and make a tier list for each stat. So, for example, we'll do speed first, maybe, and we'll make a tier list for speed. If you don't know what a tier list is, it's like pretty. It's like it is what it sounds like. It's like you make a list, but it's like in brackets pretty much. It's in tiers. So you have like S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, G tier, and then however many tiers there are. But you put them in order, and you also break them up into different tiers. So that's going to help us put these stats to these creatures. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take like maybe, I really don't know, like probably I'll finish the sprites in 2 months, and then probably a week of maybe like half a month of actually doing the tier lists. If I want to like make sure I get them right, or just how I want them at least. So that's that. Then each creature has an overworld ability, a battle ability, and a species ability. They actually have two overworld abilities. Why that is because Mythical Egg Layer is an ability that this might have to be changed depending on how rare or not rare elevated mutant creature is, but basically it's one of the best ways you can get an elevated mutant creature, and it's just by walking around with a creature with Mythical Egg Layer, or even just standing still with a creature with Mythical Egg Layer. And I wanted people to have a full party of Mythical Egg Layer creatures, but not sacrifice their overworld abilities. So I made them have two overworld abilities. A battle ability is what it sounds like. It's like how it affects something in battle. You get one of those, and a species ability is just specific to the species. Every creature of that species has the um, the same species ability. Then we go into types. This was how I was doing it originally, where it could be any combination of two types, like whatever type it actually was, and a certain percent likely of that type. But I might change that. I might just do, let's say it could be ground or water, then it would just be 33.3 repeating percent ground, 33.3 repeating percent water, and 33.3 repeating percent ground and water. Just to make it easier to code, because I really am trying to push this project out and get this out on time, in terms of like my frame of time. And to do that, I think I'll have to simplify things for the coder. So don't take this part with a grain of salt, because it might be like a lot simplified, or it's more simplified. I mean, and the mutant types. At first, I was gonna do like they could be any combination of these types as well as their types. Actually, their types are included, so just these types, this list of types. But I think immune maybe could be any um any type for simplicity's sake. I wouldn't be opposed to making them any type in the beginning, like the alpha and the first few years of the full release, and then limiting them so there's only X. So, for example, this could be air, electric, fire, ground, poison, reptile, sound, water. It couldn't be plasma, but for the first few years of the game, it could have been plasma. So they become more like legacy pieces. We got description, height, weight, location, and designer. And that is what one of these looks like. And this one is filled out more than the other ones because, like I said, I don't have all the sprites to them, and I didn't go into detail on. I then stopped adding abilities and instead worked on the actual abilities. We won't go over all the creatures, but here's creatures. We have overview, type chart, wave one, and then wave one has folders for about 207 of the creatures out of there. And there's, sorry, no, more like 150 of the creatures, and there's 280 drawn up to be into the original wave one. Um, we won't go into too much of this. Maybe I'll give you one more example. Here's Tridacross. Um, Tridacross, sorry, Dracos. And you see it's not as filled out. Um, but yeah, the important thing right now is getting all the all the sprites so that I can do the tier list for the stats, so that I can put the stats together. So that's creatures. That's what the creature folder is. Here's characters. Like I'm I'm probably it's gonna take a long time to get all the characters in here. I might just do that. Like the book is probably all the books are probably gonna be all the books of the main series are probably gonna be done before I get them in here. And I should break them up by series because um, there are other series that I've started and started to outline, either started or started to outline. Uh, then we have cards. We'll look at this in my folder, not the Obsidian folders. When we start to look at the cards, but here let's um abilities. So let's go over some abilities. Maybe you like this, maybe you don't, but for me, it's like interesting. You can just pause at any point and read them if you're interested in reading them. If not, I'll just talk about the ones that I like the most. So I really like this idea of um, a catching creature, a creature or creatures that you put into your team for their ability, overworld ability. So this one makes you 100% more likely to find wild creatures of the same species, all with the opposing gender. It's called Antenna. This, as you can imagine, is really powerful, especially in my game, where there are some creatures that are one in millions, um, like this Dracovore you see in the back here. The icon creature, pretty much. It's like pretty much our Charizard. Not to always compare to Pokemon because that's not really a good thing that I do, but if it's what people know already, so it's easy to explain things through that. But anyways, um, like Apex Predator Overworld allows you to toggle off encounters. It's like a Infinity Max Repel, as long as you have a creature with Apex Predator. But the only one I know that has it is Dracovore, and that is one in uh 2.8 million, I think. If you do everything right, sorry, maybe it's 28 million. Uh, if you do everything right, though, if you're hunting it optimally, you you can get it down to, I think it was 2.8, I think it was 28 million, and you can get it down to 8 million is the math that I'm settled on, like as of right now anyways. This has pretty much the same battle effect as Antenna, but it's just has a overworld effect, sorry, but it's on different creatures obviously, so it's not the same thing really. um Here's one that helps you find more female creatures. And abilities aren't like Pokemon. In Pokemon, the overworld ability is only the ability that is on the first creature in your party. These are just you have 8 creatures and all of them are working at once. Here's Bloodthirsty. You gain 40 attack for every opponent you KO. I still don't know if I'm gonna label things as killed or KO'd. That's something that I have to think about. It's not really a kids game. I mean, kids are gonna play it, right? Kids play fucking Call of Duty. Damn, I cursed. Yo, I don't even know how to edit to beep that out. I'm not. I guess there's just curses in my videos. In my company videos, that sucks. But whatever. Here's Bug Eater. This is one that's important. You want it on your catch creature, your main creature. Um, it lets you pretty much heal as you walk in grass. One thing that I really need to think of is how rare are the devices that you use to catch creatures. In Pokemon, it's Pokeballs. In my game, it's ICCTs, which stands for Individual uh, Creature Capture Transmitters. I think something like that. And and as of right now, they're supposed to be very rare, hard to get, expensive in the MMO. Compared to Pokeballs. But do you want to make it so rare that only mutants and elevated creatures are worth catching? I'm not sure. So that's another thing I'm thinking of. Copycat just lets you have a chance of copying a creature's ability, I think. Um, it also in the overworld apparently lets you have a chance to find a creature with the same ability that you have. That could be really powerful because you can't switch abilities on a creature. You're stuck with them with whatever one you get. So dive roll lets you actually dive and roll on the overworld. Egg warmer lets you hatch eggs faster. Here's freeform. So this lets you change from a baby creature to an adult creature in battle, and then not have it changed when you're back out of battle. There's glider. Gluttony lets you have 2 items on one creature at once, which is probably gonna do some crazy stuff. We might have to make sure that there's no broken combinations, which will be hard, but we'll get there through testing and people playing the game. Here's Green Thumb. We do want planting in this game eventually, but that'll be for a future update. Here's Hacks. I remember this being important. Yeah, so it makes you twice as likely to catch the rarest creature on your particular location. Heavy Rain, High Jumper lets you actually jump in the overworld. Illuminate like changes how many dark types you can catch, or you'll see actually. Here's Increasingly Fat, which slows you down 2 frames in the overworld if you have it as an overworld effect, or it adds 40 physical defense but lowers speed by 20 each turn as a battle effect. This is probably not going to be broken. In my game, speed is super important. If you double outspeed someone, you go twice. So speed is really life in this game. Lowering 20 speed is not that good. Unless, well, it depends on the scenario, but here's Living Statue. Now, Living Statue is for a 420 event, which is like the day my company was created. So there's going to be the Limestone Girlfriend Studios, which is what my company's called, event in the game. And during this event, you'll be able to catch statue creatures, and they all come with living statue as their ability. And you can see what that does. So they would just have variant effect instead of species. So we would literally take out species effect, and then, or maybe we would just add variant effect. Maybe we could just add variant effect. Here's Magic Eyes, one of my favorite. This is also in the card game. Um, Reveals one of your opponent's unrevealed species in battle. So, not that I'm like able to play around that very well. If it was like Pokemon and you could do that, or just theoretically in my game. But some people are going to be really good at using this ability. So it's a really cool one. There's Magnetic, Metacrosis, Mudbath. Here's Mythical Egg Layer. We went over that one. There's Overkill, which is like if you kill a creature and like the leftover damage gets put to another creature, which could be really powerful. Pearl Farmer, just some quick bucks. Quick Scope. Just try and get through this so this isn't a 5-hour video, but it's fine if it's like 3 hours, I guess. You know what? 5 hours is fine too. Who cares? Um, Scavenger. Speedster, Spiky, Stat Booster, Sticky Drift, Sticky Hands, Sticky Skin, Sticky String, Sugar Rush, Synchronize. This one's huge. It's a 50% chance that the creature you encounter has the same nature as you. There's so many natures that you'll rarely randomly roll the one you need. So Synchronize is massive. Hold on one second. Okay, here's the undead. So this is like what was it? Living statue, in that it's an event ability as a variant effect, and this is for Halloween. And basically you'll be able to get zombie creatures, like certain creatures each year that are turned into zombies, and they have this variant effect. Um, yeah, you can read that if you want. I'm not going to read that. Thief lets you take items from wild creatures, and I think maybe it does the same in battle. I don't know. You can read that. We're almost done here. Thick Skull, basic attack. The basic attack headbutt does no recoil damage. Type converter, wing intimidation, which is like, insects have those eyes on their wings. And wizard. We need a lot more abilities, which is really a pain in the ass, but it's what's needed for the game. Um, let's go over. Let's go over Alien Soda Online, the folder. So we have breeding, which I'm not sure I'm going to do. And so here we have probably one of the coolest things that Alien Soda is going to do, that Pokemon doesn't. It's character classes and character species. Everyone picks a character species and a character class. There's 20 character classes and there's 19 character species, and then there's also preset characters, which we'll get into in a second. So I do what I think my main is going to be is Tengu and Monk. Maybe Skeleton Monk. But let's just take a look. So here's the basic template, and um, here are the stats. I think I have to keep the stats for all these ones, but for the character species and classes that I did. But basically, you have character stats for your species, and then modifiers for your class. So you can see plus accuracy, plus agility, plus 20 health points, plus say you got minus anything. Monk has no minuses, which is interesting, but average 62. Let's see, did I make that OP? I don't want my class to be just obviously broken, you know what I'm saying? Let's look at Ninja. 52. You got minus 22 mana. No, minus 20 mana, minus 20 health points. But you do get that 100 speed. Did I get 100 speed on Monk? No. Hmm. Um, maybe we'll mess around with this. Here's another plus 52. Does anyone go 62 or higher? Stats aren't everything though. Here's Dragon Knight, which goes 67. Um, and not everything is about stats, like I said. Look, if those who know, look, I put Lil Pirates 2 in my projects because I want to buy Lil Pirates and revive the game. I don't know if you know Lil Pirates, but I used to love that game. So one day I hope I can make Lil Pirates too. If not, I'm just gonna make a spin off kind of a game like based off of Lil Pirates. Anyways, back to video games. And sort of online creature species, creature classes. So here's Monk. So other than stats, why I said stats aren't everything is because you also get abilities, right? And your abilities are default abilities, and then starting at 0 every 20 levels you choose between two abilities. It's kind of like Apex's system where you get like blue shield and then you pick between two abilities, then you get purple shield and you pick between two abilities. This is like every 20 levels to 100 you pick between two abilities, and then you also have default abilities. So I'd rather go over Monk. Would I rather go over Monk? Let's go over Beast Tamer. So you have accelerated training. Creatures level up 1.5 times faster while using this class. Tamer Insight. You can see wild creatures' natures during battle. That's cool. Secret Elevated Spotter. You get a warning if you have found a secret elevated creature. A secret elevated creature is just a creature that is elevated but wasn't forced to be elevated. Like stats were not needed to change to be elevated. They rolled that naturally. Then level 0 upgrades. You have Sharp Instincts, an additional 1.1 crit rate with creatures while using this ability. Creature loyalty, right? Um, Creatures deal 1.25 damage when under 10% HP in turn-based combat. Then we have level 20 upgrades, which is Capture Mastery, increases the chance you catch a creature by 20%. Um, Team Coordinator, creatures switch in with 10% more speed. Um, so you can already see things like um, you get a warning if you find a secret elevated creature, or you can see wild creatures' nature. Um, you're gonna want probably there's multiple ways to play this game, so you're gonna probably want multiple builds. So you can have the same account and make multiple characters, but everyone's probably gonna want a Beast Tamer. We'll skip ahead. You can read that if you want. Pause the video if you want, but the level 100 upgrades is Statistical Enhancer, adds 4 bonus stats to each battle statistic, adds 4 bonus stats to each battle statistic for wild creatures caught with this class and ability, or hold on, adds 4 bonus stats to each battle statistic. That's fucking good. We might have to nerf that. Okay, what I tried to say is that you can add um four bonus stats to stats if they're without exceeding 100 bonus stats. Because getting even one more speed over 100 over perfect speed is really would be really powerful. But anyways, we'll fix the wording on that. And ability switcher. I told you you weren't allowed to switch abilities. I guess you actually can through having a beast tamer level 100. Allows you to switch the abilities of a creature you caught with this class and ability. 100 uses max for this character. So yeah, basically, um, you get one to a level 100 and you have 100 uses to switch abilities, which is really good. So, like I said, like people are gonna need to make a beast tamer. So, well, most people are gonna need to make a beast tamer class for not for battling really. I think there are going to be better options for battling, but for catching creatures and for these level 100 abilities, getting four extra bonus stats or the ability switcher, which you'd probably want the ability switcher. I think most times maybe four in every bonus stat would be good, but um, yeah, I don't know. You can only get one of the others, so I think ability switcher is a little bit better right now. But you can see here's efficient student. Books have a 4 times chance of working on this creature was caught with this class. If this creature was caught with this class or an ability, books essentially. So when you get a creature, it has a move pool, which is just the moves that it can learn. If it's a mutant creature, it has its move pool that the species can learn plus one for each type that it is. So if Bubble Beam, let's say, is a water type, and you get a mutant creature that's normally grass type, you would have those grass type moves and whatever extra moves it has normally. And then you would get, let's say, randomly you got one water move and it was Bubble Beam that was added on. And then books give a 5% chance of adding a move that your creature couldn't learn. So if you get a book, it's like a rare good item. You want to make sure you use it on the right creature, but the book will be the book of fire kick, and so it'll teach one creature fire kick. It gets used up if you use it. Like you don't get to use it on two different creatures. You use it on once and it's like destroyed or whatever. But yeah, it gives you a 5% chance. This up bumps that to 20. So yeah, that's Beast Tamer. Let me see. Let's go over Monk. Matter of fact, you can just pause the video. I'm not gonna read it all. Um, so some are fighting, some are catching, and then there's merchants. Oh, so the other classes. So some are fighting, some are catching, and some are making money. And obviously, it's an MMO, so making money is really important. You have merchant, which is directly directly like directly making money. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole thing about it is making money. Sorry, let's go over Monk again. Maybe some of you were reading that, but there's merchant. Now that I think about it, maybe we could add farmer the class, but I would take one out because I want 20 and 20. Um, yeah. So monk's whole thing is dodging. You do this is pretty much straight out of the game Cerulean Ultimate, but you do counter damage on dodges. Monk is who I played in Cerulean Ultimate, so um, I really like the way it played, so I brought like some similarities into this game, and it's basically based around dodging and doing counter damage. You also get at AD, you get Ninja's Disciple, which Ninja is all about critting, and speed and stuff. So you get Ninja's Disciple at 80. Um, Monk's Discipline Training. So this is your creature dodges, triggers, counter strikes. So now all your creatures are trying to dodge. So you definitely want speed and agility. with monk, and on your creatures too. Then let's take a look at merchant. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Again, you can pause and read. I'll try and. I think the hundreds are usually the best. So, I think I'm gonna make a thing where merchant takes longer to heal, get to level 100. Because some of these are really not that good for the economy, tax evasion specifically. Yeah, so farm is the only other one I'm thinking about adding. I'd maybe take something out, maybe Dragon Knight or Gladiator. Let's take a look at Hunter. Oh, we don't have much done here. Not at all. Um, Here, let's take a look at Trickster. You can pause if you want. Basically, they're what you would think they would be, I feel like. At least they're what I think they would be. And then there's Treasure Hunter. Vanity Collector is really awesome. I play this game called Poke MMO, which is just an MMO Pokemon game, and I'm really into collecting vanities. So that's a cool one for me, anyways. Um, then we have the species. Let me see, which one did I do? They're not all filled out yet, but so yeah, so you can see why skeleton monk would be good because skeletons are have an additional 30% likely to dodge. That also seems kind of high. Let's do 20. Let's keep that 30 until I know for sure. It's a change I want to make. Uh, and you get monk's disciple. So yeah, I think you get the picture. Um, we're not going to go into all of those. Um, so talking about NPCs here, special NPCs. Here's Robot Scout. Tells you if there's a robot somewhere on your map. So robots in the final game, or like I said, like when the game is released fully. So the robot class of species has to be unlocked, like a lot of the other ones. You don't. It's like Castle Crashers. You like sometimes you get a character to level 100 and you unlock other characters because you have one that's level 100. It's like a tree branch. Or some you just have to unlock by doing certain things. In the case of robots in the game appear just randomly on your map, and they're very unlikely to appear because if everyone had them, they would ruin the economy because you can play idly with robots. So you can, um, what do you call it? Program your robot, and that basically means you set what you're looking for. Let's say I was only interested in elevated or mutant creatures. I would say, go find an elevated or mutant creature while I'm away from my keyboard. Stop when an elevated or mutant creature is encountered, and it would run in the grass where you tell it to run. And and it would stop when it finds an elevated or mutant creature, and that's really powerful. So it's very rare. I think the company is going to give out robots to outstanding members in the community. Um, but other than that, you can find them randomly. And apparently, this robot scout tells you if there's a robot somewhere on your map. So every day, pretty much, people are gonna go talk to the robot scout and see if there's a robot on their map because it's so powerful. It's just so it's really imagine you get to play the game and not have to fucking actually grind it. Um, but then there's other special NPCs. Let's see if it's in my folder. Uh, NPCs, yeah, wizards, right? So wizards. Let's go over what wizards are. There's the breeding wizard. Breeding wizard allows you to create from your party. Wait, to choose a creature from your party to breed. The breeding wizard will use the creature of your choice to create an egg of the same species with terrific DNA stats and an increased chance of being mutant. So that's the breeding wizard. So you find these wizards just randomly in your game. There's not like a location that you can go to a breeding wizard. You have to just randomly find them. Here's the clone wizard. The clone wizard will clone a creature of your choice from your party. The clone is identical and sent to your creature storage. Really, really powerful, especially if you have a super rare creature. Here's the DNA wizard. The DNA wizard will max out a stat of your choosing's DNA value, which is actually called bonus stats. So we'll make that change. You can find 2 of any wizard, but you will only get to max out 1 stat per creature. You may not have 2 DNA wizards maxed out 2 of the 2 stats on the same creature. 2 bonus stats, really. Because if you could do that, then you could get a perfect creature. I don't think perfect creatures are really like obtainable in my game. They're just you would have to get insanely lucky. Maybe like one person for a while might have one, but um, that was DNA wizard. Here's move teacher wizard. Allows the player to choose a creature in their party to learn any one move they couldn't learn. The list of options will automatically be all the moves that the creature could not learn. Damn, that's powerful. You better use those ones right, for real. Um, it's gonna be hard to know exactly what move is the best move to put on your creature that it can't learn. But here's Scout Wizard. Uh, gives players a mutant creature encounter. The next encounter player will be granted a mutant. And then you have Trainer Wizard. Challenges you to a fight. If you accept and lose, the Trainer Wizard will let you choose one of its creatures to take. If you win, the Trainer Wizard will let you take 2 of its random creatures. That's you. Choose to take 2 of its random creatures. Training Wizard creatures have increased stats and usually large learnable move pools and higher chance of being mutant. Yeah, so those are wizards. Let's see wizard information. Just basic information. You can pause again if you need to, but see if there's anything else in my obsidian before we go over the card game stuff. Vitamins are pretty much EVs, but you can only use vitamins to get EVs in this game. They're called VVs, but basically the same thing. Okay, here's the currency. If you want to pause and look at that, basically different currencies do different things. This is just basic information on items. Oh, then there's competitions too. We haven't written all the competitions that there will be, but okay, that's pretty much my obsidian so far. There's probably stuff I'm missing that are in my files though. Okay, before we get into cards, let's go over. Let's take a look at how much I've written. So in book one, I've written. This is Times New Roman, size 12, double space. It looks like 338 words. Oh, sorry, pages. Then in book two, I'm at. It looks like. Hello, 272. And then book three is just like 4 pages, I think. That I wanted to skip to a part just to get it out. Um, Here, Natures. This is a game called Eggheads. Hopefully that gets done one day. Um, Here's the sort of rule book. There's just a bunch of stuff in here that is like um, different story pre-writes that I wanted to write, or a few actual, like maybe like 20 chapters, 30 chapters of like a couple spin-off books that I was working on. Um, I was gonna go over everything that happens in the story, but I think I don't want to do that. I think if you can buy the book, buy the book. If you don't read fantasy, probably don't. But um, there's also like hopefully the anime will come out, or the manga. If you if you're into anime, check out the anime if it's out. If you're into manga, check out the manga if it's out. If you're into fantasy books, check out the fantasy book if it's out. Um, and I'm not gonna talk about what the book's about. Um, that leaves us with pixel art and the cards. So here's my pixel art. It's basically social media for pixel art, and basically I have a bunch of creatures here, different species. There's sprites, so like they're like pixel art sprites like old Pokemon games. These are some tiles. These are more. These are the back sprite to Drake of War. These are more creatures. A back sprite. This is a baby creature. The baby to this creature. Then we get into vanities. This is an emblem. These are vanities. These are the different templates for different creatures. This is what I was talking about when I said custom creatures. They're creatures that come how they are, and they you don't get um, their stats are predetermined, and you don't get to add vanities to them. They come clothed or how they look pretty much. But then there's the templates for the others. This is Orc, Classic Alien, Fairy, Cyclops, Angel, Kitsun, Dryad, Demon, Elf, High Elf, and then these are more vanities. All the vanities are for just fit for humans so far. Um, More vanities, more vanities, more vanities. Some vanities that are not even in the pre-alpha demo, but most of them are. Then some more creatures. You can see that I did different colorways for different creatures. That was before I had the builder that pretty much does it for me if I make them in gray and white and separate the body parts. So yeah, I was doing things like pretty suboptimally before, but more creatures, more creatures. These two are, well, these four, these five here, whatever, these six here, Jesus, are I was thinking of doing a spin-off card game one day, um, or just collectible cards really, but more creatures. These are ICCTs. They're like USB devices. Um, and you can see there's a bunch of them. Each of them do different things. Like Napoleon Ice Cream might be good against ice type creatures, while Milk Snake might be good against reptile creatures, while Bloody Original might be good against creatures that are bleeding. Next, we have this item, which is stops your creature from leveling up if you place it on. They're called Frozen Shackles. Then we have the eyeballs. The eyeballs pretty much just tell you a bonus stat in their correlated stat for their color on a wild creature. So, for example, the red eye would be would if you used a red eye on a wild creature, it would tell you the attack value in bonus stats of that creature. And you get eyes like crazy. I think they're common items. But here's more creatures. More creatures. I was doing black and white. Now I do it in Aerosprite, which is a lot nicer. More creatures. More creatures. Some dudes. This is for the card game. So the card game is interesting because basically how a turn works is you, the defender, pick a defensive option, and you put it face down on the table. And then your opponent doesn't know what defensive option you used or shouldn't, and they pick a defensive option trying to anticipate what you did. So let's say I did dodge. Let's say they thought that I was going to dodge too, so they put down dodge. Now we flip them over, and we both reveal that we did dodge. So now the attacker gets a bonus on their roll, their attacking roll. And then there's a chart that determines how much damage is done, if it's a critical hit, if it's no damage, if it missed, whatever the outcome is. Then we have potions, another creature, some more items for the card game, arts for the card game. Here's the playtest swamp. Some more creatures, some more items, some more creatures, some more creatures. Here you'll notice if you got a sharp eye, in terms of pixel art, these three are 64 by 64 instead of the actually this one too, I think, instead of the and this one instead of the regular 96 by 96 I use. That's because I was making a Pokemon ROM hack with all my creatures in it, but I decided that is not the best use of my time, especially because I was making two sprites for one creature, two front sprites for one creature, and then two back sprites for one creature. It's better to just make my game, and then if I want to do a Pokemon ROM hack of my game, I'll do that later. Then I got this guy. I don't know why the fuck I made this, but I made this. And then card template and signature, and this is like the back to what you see in the actual box when you're looking at a creature. This is the UI that I made. You can see what kind of information is attached to your creature in the video game here. Okay, finally we just have the cards to go over, and I'll just show you some example of the cards and the rarity system of the cards. I think the rarity system is pretty unique. Let's go to set list. Let's go to promos. Okay. So here's promo card 1. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It's Dracovor. And you'll notice at the very top, you'll notice the first thing you might notice is big borders. That's actually because when you give it to the company that's making the card, they want it extended borders so that if the cut is not perfectly centered, that it'll still show the border. You know what I'm saying? So if it's shifted one way or the other, the border will still be the background. The base of this is gray because it's a base card. You'll see Dracovor. You'll see this icon indicates that it's a creature card. Then it's 2 types. Then this is promo 1, so it labels what the card is. Then it says pop 20. Pop is just population, so there's 20 versions of these. There's 20 of these cards. Then you have the stats. You have the artwork in the middle. You have one or two abilities, and then you have 3 or 4 moves. And then you have Limestone Girlfriend Studios, the year it came out. Then you have first edition stamp, and you have the illustrator name. Um, but then you have the inverted version, and that's just the card inverted. Um, I'm not. I haven't decided if we're gonna invert the actual creature or not. I think I'm gonna go with no, but the rest of the card is inverted, and I think it's really cool. This is pop 8, so they're rarer than the standard version. And yeah, they're just that's the inverted card or inverted version of the card. And then there's mutants, which are true one of ones with different colors, just like mutants in the game. They all have nicknames, so those are added on to the left side, bottom left, written horizontally. And like I said, I still need to get all the sprites so I can do the stats for each creature. And the stats, so these stats need to be reworked. Um, but yeah, then the mutants have different abilities and different move sets and different types. So this is a air and plant type, and this is a air and fire type, and this is supposed to be the Charizard colorway, so that's cool. It's called Homage. Um, and they got the symbol for mutants, which is the tentacle. Let's take a look at pro number 2. So you can see this is not really for kids. He's got a pick and a gun. Um, but yeah, this is Muscalilo. This is Pop 20. Now, wait, did I have a promo 3? Okay, the promo 3 is not done, but it might be the Heart Sword. Now we'll take a look at prototype cards. Mm, so here's the base for Acario. And it's Pop 6, so they're rarer than the first 2 promos. And it's using their video game sprites. Um, then we have inverted. This time I did invert it, so I think I'm not going to do that though. The problem with inverting the whole card is like things look better, things look more natural if, um, or the way we see is that lighter things are appear up front and darker things are in the back. And when you invert the whole card, it does the opposite. Um, Darker things are in the front and lighter things are in the back, which can kind of annoy the viewer, I think, and isn't too nice. But um, here we have the Forbidden Mage. You can see I try to use the abilities and moves and the way it looks to influence the name of the mutant. And most of these are incomplete, but a lot of them are pretty much done minus just the stats that need to be changed. And so that's the first thing that I'm working on is getting the sprites done so I can get the tier list done so I can put the stats on each creature and then put the right stats on the cards and then print the cards. And so I'll be doing a lot of cutting wood in my backyard to make up the money to get the cards printed. In between episode 1 and episode 2. Was there anything else I wanted to show off? I think that might conclude it. Um, yeah, I think let's see how long this was. If you made it to the end of the video, Joe, shout out you because this was quite a lot. Hopefully you enjoyed some of the nerdier aspects of this video, or maybe you're just in it for the business aspects. I'll try and go over why I do what I do in terms of business later, but it's not really like I've even proven that any of this works yet. So um, I didn't really focus on that in this episode. But what am I doing here? Let's see. Twitch. That was only an hour, 15. But that's what we'll call it. Um, Hopefully, it won't take me long to um, get all the get all the sprites done, and then I'll do a update video, episode 2, with everything I did um, from now until I got all the sprites done. Like, we'll talk about how I cut wood, hopefully, and made X amount of money, and what else I worked on, because working on the same thing over and over gets pretty boring, so I like to jump around. Um, and then after that, we'll do videos on um, actually ranking all the creatures in terms of stats and also based off their design for one video. So those will come after the episode 2, in between episode 2 and episode 3, or we'll actually name them. And actually, this might be episode 0, so next one might be episode 1. But regardless, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. Bye bye.